Okay, it is August 24th, 4:33 p.m. We're going to just start with Bitcoin monthly. Only monthly levels I am watching is the same, which it has been for the last almost 4 months. This is where I am expecting price to pull back to as of right now. And yeah, the levels are pretty steep. I'm not going to go much more into it from there. We're going to push it to the weekly. We have 26 minutes left on the weekly, and the level to watch right now is this weekly swing right here at 114,157. This weekly swing is currently losing it with 26 minutes left, and expectation right now is that if we close this weekly below 114,000, we could honestly see price, if we're just playing it weekly to weekly, we could see price push as low as 100 to 102. Yeah, I would just put these two main levels here. I was going to say 104, right? The reason why I'm not saying 104 is because if you push it to the daily, they already tested it off of this level right here. So I'm disregarding this level. I don't think it's going to hold there. So from the weekly, as of right now, I'm looking at 102 to 100,000. And I do expect this to come in the very short term, probably by maybe this month or September, to be honest. Going back to what I was talking about a few weeks ago, I was looking at the MACD to flip bearish, and I was looking for it to flip bearish. Where's my pen tool? I was looking for it to flip bearish here, and I was looking for the breakdown from those price levels down here, but then it gave a run up and held it. And now we finally have some confirmation that it did flip bearish, right? So when you see these bearish flips, we could see an anticipation of big, long bearish structures like this, which could lead to something like this, where if price was going to come down, we could see something like this happen again, right? So we got to keep our eye out for that. And if we're pushing it back to the weekly, we haven't really seen any weekly bearish MACD flips on the weekly as of right now. And the last time we saw it was back in 2022 to 2023. So what we have to be aware of is we have to be cautious, because if this is the start of a bearish structure on the daily, we have to keep in mind on the weekly time frame that if there is going to be any momentum shifts where this is going to start to flip bearish, then Bitcoin top is probably going to be in for a while, and price would be going as low as these levels, or maybe even to 20,000 or so forth, if we are going to flip bearish on the weekly. So as of right now, we're just starting with the daily, right? And we're going to just take it one step at a time from there. So you have to be cautious. Ethereum, yeah, looks bullish. Alts look bullish, but Bitcoin looks bearish, and we need to be very cautious on this. I wouldn't be longing Bitcoin. If I'm looking to long anything, it's better probability to long coins like Ethereum, Litecoin, or Solana. If you're looking for a bullish trade or something to the upside. If you're looking for something on the upside, I wouldn't be paying much attention to Bitcoin. So just going back to the weekly right now, we're going to be watching for these weekly levels. And if you aren't short already, what would you want to be looking for, right? That's the main question. If you aren't short already, what do you want to be looking for? Well, as of right now, we have the weekly close coming in 20 minutes. So you could look for bearish retest on the weekly at 114,000. Let's push it to the daily to see where price is going to be rejecting as well too. So we do have some daily levels right here at 115, and this is a level here at 116,000 as well too. So if we don't reject 114 right off of the bat, you do want to keep in mind that we did make a new low on Bitcoin, right? So you had a low and then you had a new high, right? But then you made a new low relative to here. So this is a new low. So if we're going to be in a trending structure, we want to see trend continue down from these price levels, whether it be anything from this entire leg here, right? So you want to be playing a downtrend, hoping that nothing comes back above this level here. And then just going back to the daily, we do have daily resistance here that we didn't test. If it does push to the upper high side of the price action, will it get up there? I am honestly not too confident that it will. I'm more so looking for maybe something of a consolidation of something like this. Maybe we come back around and then we get a bigger move down to that level here at 100,000. So that is the main idea. Daily flip bearish. I would be looking for shorts if the daily closes like this in 20 minutes. The weekly. If the weekly doesn't close like this in 20 minutes and we manage to hold above it, I would anticipate a little bit more sideways, because then at that point they're holding it and they want to come back up and test maybe that 119 level. But if we don't, the idea is to probably look for a rejection around 115, 116K, and expectation is just a downtrending structure from local price action here, right? From local price action here. So as of right now, they clear the liquidity on the bottom range. Let me just clear some of this orange stuff out. They cleared the liquidity on the bottom range. So right now they're just building the path right now for lower. They're saying, hey, let's clear the liquidity, get all this liquidity out of the way. So when we get a smooth dump, and when it does happen, the dump is going to be very nice and swift to 100 to 100,000. And then I would like to see what would happen around there, even 96,000. But once we do get there, we would like to see how the weekly candles will close or how the monthly candles will close. Because we're just looking at the monthly right now. We still have 7 days in the month. I really don't think that the monthly is going to even close below 100 to 100,000. It needs a lot of momentum, but if it does, it does. So maybe in 7 days, once we do get a monthly close, we'll reevaluate. Any questions on Bitcoin as of right now? So if you just got in, I think Steve and I think that's Dave, right? Yeah, if you guys have any questions, I can push it to something else. Just a quick summary, it is likely that we are going to push lower if the weekly closes below 114,000 in around 20 minutes. And you would want to be looking for shorts to 100,000. That's the idea. Okay, cool. So we're going to push to Ethereum. We're going to start with the monthly, of course. We did make new all-time highs. I think I mentioned that in our prior videos that we've gone over. If we get above this monthly level here, it's likely that we are going to push the all-time highs. And then again, I was pissed because we never got that retest at 32.81. Sort of front ran it, but it's okay. I don't think it's gonna go all the way to 8,000 or 9,000 in one shot. Given that if Bitcoin is looking a little bit heavy, maybe Ethereum is not going to dump as hard as Bitcoin, for instance. And with the weekly coming, well, let's just mark the monthly levels that I'm watching right now. So these are like just the main monthly levels that I'm pretty much looking at as of right now for Ethereum. So let's just push it to the weekly because that's where the stuff is. So with 17 minutes in the weekly as of right now, this 4,600 level coincides with it. So we'll just mark it as a weekly level here. So it's actually looking really good for Ethereum. Bitcoin can be dumping while Ethereum can be pumping. We've seen this in the past around here. If you guys remember, Bitcoin was very slow around this time. Even, I think it was actually here, my mistake. Bitcoin wasn't doing shit and Ethereum was running. So we could see Ethereum push. So if you're looking to long Ethereum, I just would be anticipating all-time high pushes, maybe to 6,000 or 7,000 or so forth. Where to bid? That's the most important question, right? Where to bid? So we have this 4,600 level. I honestly like 3,800 level to around 4,000 level. because I want to see this area here act as support. So if we are going to pull back, I would like to get some type of bid here and then continuation higher. That's the idea. And I think even though if Bitcoin is going to dump to 100,000, I think Ethereum could pull something like this for it to go higher. The momentum on Ethereum is very strong right now. You made new all-time high. So if you made a new high, right, above here, right, you are just expecting a higher high, continuation. And maybe this would be the lower high for that continuation higher. Let's see. I don't want to push it to the daily. We could. So Ethereum tested this weekly level, right? That's why it gave that bounce there, right? And if you want to hold trend above, let's say this low right here, you would want to look something for on the daily. So I'm going to mark this level. I'm going to mark this level red, because you do not really want to take this out if you're looking to long, right? So that's why I think it's the risk reward is not really that great to long. So daily, I'm doing this all live. I haven't really looked at the charts in a week, so I have no idea what has really happened much. Came up. So this would be valid spot on the daily for Ethereum to hold. We could see a reaction, but you know how I always keep on saying you only want to look for weekly or monthly levels for trend reversals. So I do want to see it, because we did test that weekly level that I marked where the red line is. I do want to see price continue from that weekly level, for instance. It would probably be coming from around there. Or if you want to catch something better, I would want to probably long something around here, 4,200, because that was the impulse up. If not, I do think at some point, if we do not hold these levels, I think 32.81 is still on the table. Even if we do start to get really bearish on Ethereum, I think it's possible that we could come back all the way to 24.74. But at this current time, at this current point in time, I don't think it's very likely. I think it's more likely we hold something on the top range than not. So I don't want to push it much deeper than that. Though you could expect just daily reactions. If you do see a test and it pushes up, make your stop loss tight on Ethereum. Make your stop loss tight, because then if Bitcoin starts to dump, and then Ethereum will start to go with it as well too, because the market moves in unison, right? So any other questions on Ethereum before I push it to, I think I'm going to push it to Solana, because Solana looks a bit interesting. Okay. Looks strong. I can't deny it. It looks strong. But I don't think it's going to go up in a straight line. It has to give some movement for a couple months sideways before it pushes. It needs to do something. It always needs to do something like this before it goes higher. You know, it's not going to do it all in one shot. It's going to give a lot of price action. It's not going to just keep going straight. So that's why I would be a little bit cautious. It's not really worth it to long Ethereum here. In my opinion, what I'm going to be focusing on is just looking for shorts on Bitcoin. And then if there is something that presents itself on Ethereum, I would buy the dip there. So I'll put the updates in the chart when I do see something. Okay, Solana. Okay, Solana monthly is looking good. Expectation is to come at least to $231. I think I mentioned before that if we are playing monthly to monthly, right, that this is more or less the expectation, if you guys remember, right? And that's what it currently looks like it's doing. So I'm just going to keep it simple with the monthly charts right now for Solana. Weekly looks good. It is basically, it held this bottom range here, and it's wanting to push to that monthly. With the current weekly right now, where else is it closing above? Okay, so we do have weekly level here that we are currently watching. This is a weekly as well, but I'll just delete it because they tested it. So I think if we do close above 202 on the weekly, we are going to just get continuation up to 230, and then probably as high as 253. I think that is the main move. Solana does look pretty fucking good. I can't say it doesn't look good, but then again, you got to watch out for Bitcoin. So if we are going to look for pullbacks on Solana, where would it be? So if the way I'm looking at this right now is like, okay, I'm looking at the wicks right here. I'm looking at the wicks, these two wicks, right? This is how you sort of see what is tested. This is what's not tested. I'm looking at what happened in the prior 2 weeks. So I look at these two candles, right? Like the current weekly candle and the prior weekly candle, and I look at the wicks at the bottom range, and I'm looking to the left. And on the left, I'm looking, okay, what did they test? They've tested all this weekly support here, right? And it's basically giving that juice. It already took the energy out of there to give the push that it's currently giving, right? It is coming here, right? But you see they've already tested it from these wicks as well too. So that's why it's pretty likely it's going to push. But that's why I have that cautious bearish bias on Bitcoin as of right now. If it does give a pullback, and just looking at the weekly, I have this is untested, and then I have 131 is untested, and then if you guys remember the other levels I was watching, lower was 112 to I think it was 105. Yeah, 105, right down there. So I would be cautious, but these are the levels that I am watching if we do get a pullback, depending on where the price is for Bitcoin at 100,000, for instance. Weekly MACD looks good. Daily MACD looks good. So in my opinion, it could be just an alt season. That's why Bitcoin looks so fucking heavy, and we are just going to be basically be rotating into alts, as Bitcoin does not look so great. The money flowing out of Bitcoin into these other coins to play a little bit of catch up, right? So it looks good as of right now. Let's just do a daily view of it. Daily 9 minutes left. It's trying to hold here. If you're wanting something more local, this is the move that took you down to that low, 188, and then I'd say like 188 to 185 would be a good spot to hold if we were to get a pullback, for instance. And then you would just want to see price just hold above here. So it'd be entry here, right? And then your stop loss could be around there. And then if it takes you out, then you have lower entries, of course. I would just be cautious. If I had an opinion, I think Bitcoin is going to make a bigger consolidation here. Seeing how heavy it could possibly be, I really don't know what it would possibly do, but it's flashing warning on the daily right now. That's why I was keeping an eye on it last 2 weeks, and now it's not like the greatest time to be super bullish on Bitcoin, but I would be cautious. Litecoin, I've been talking about this for a while, and I do think it's bullish still, which is why I think alt season potentially. So then again, they are clearing the liquidity here. Let's take out my little eclipse tool. They're clearing the liquidity here from this prior monthly candle, and expectation is honestly new all-time highs. So that's where we're targeting for Litecoin. I've been very more or less patient because I know it's like you want to break out from here, but I've seen this happen so many times, and I've been caught in my own shoes because I know this is tested, and even though it is tested, usually it's gonna reject a couple of times before it gives you the big move out of there, and that's what we want to be catching, right? So we have this weekly level at 110, and more so I was looking on the daily time frame, and I was looking at 108, to be honest. And I think this area is really nice for Litecoin, because basically what it is trying to do is you have a low and then you have a high, and I want to see a higher low here. So if you get that entry, I think this will be the breakout of that entire leg, and for the price to push up to 260 to 300. That's what I really think is going to be playing out here on Litecoin. So I think that's where it's possibly heading. Just going back to the weekly. Weekly is not losing anything. So let me delete this ugly orange line. Weekly is not losing anything. So because if you're just looking to the left as of right now, it's holding. So I look at the candle, I look at the wicks, I'm like, okay, where's it testing? But if you see right here, it's not really losing the support, right? So it's holding, and if it decides to hold, maybe this does continue up higher. So let's go back, mark this weekly. We could still, if we hold it, we could still dump, but then if the dump comes, that means you have to be aggressive, because the prior weekly candle held. It didn't close below. So with this holding, meaning it's not closing below, you can still dip below, and the buyback will probably be very strong. So that's what I'm looking for. And if I do decide to get, if the price does decide to come at 110 to 108, I will be buying more Litecoin for that anticipation breakout to new all-time highs, because I think the momentum is shifting. The daily momentum looks good on it. The monthly is finally shifting back to the positive for Litecoin. So I would like to see this get ready. If you have some money saved up or something, I think this is a phenomenal play than my Lucid long, for instance, my Lucid bag that I have. But yeah, that's what I currently have for Litecoin. I'm just watching 108, 110. I do have some exposure already from 108, 110 from buying down here and then holding it. But if it comes down again, I'll buy. Let's say if it doesn't come down there, well, let's just see what's happening. These are your like more shallow entries on the daily. If you would like to bid there, it could definitely work out. But I'm more or less eyeing this area, because the reason is I'm looking for something with the tighter invalidation, and when there's a tighter invalidation, it's more likely that it's going to hold. People are going to try to bid that support more, right? Because the invalidation is way more valid than something more locally. Should I cover XRP? I think I should, honestly. Hi, Luiki. How are you? Okay. A lot of hype around this coin, I guess, right? Good. I had to move the stream back because I'm going to be going out for a friend's birthday soon. So I'm covering everything now. So, like XRP. Okay, monthly, I'm looking at the monthly. I really can't say much about it. That's just the last monthly level that you're just currently watching. And then it's actually pretty, it's just pretty, not scary, but it's like, okay, this whole region here is pretty tested on the monthly. So if this doesn't hold, you are honestly anticipating XRP to come to $1.18 to even 82 cents, to be honest. Like, it could come back down here, for instance. I know it looks amazing, but you see, if you understand XRP, it can go sideways for a very, very long time before it does anything. So this is where like people start to FOMO thinking it's going to $15-$20. Yeah, it could, but like you want something probable with a good risk reward. A risk reward to buy here is stupid, right? As an investment standpoint. They are actually holding the weekly right here, which is nice on XRP. And they are, you just have a lot of untested weekly levels, to be honest. So those are your weekly levels of resistance. The weekly levels of support it was holding above from the prior weeks was right here. Tested it. If it decides not to hold the lows at 272, if you just don't hold the low there, right? Because we know what trend is, higher highs and higher lows. So if you take out the red, you're just looking at the next weekly level of untested support, which would come back down to this level to probably around here. So I would want to see a mid-range hold. 250 to 257 would be a great spot to buy for XRP if it does give you that blessing. If you do take out the red, and if it does hold there, then you would just want to be expecting price to bounce from here to just come back to the range highs, to be honest. Doesn't look something like I'm interested in trading, to be honest. You know XRP. If you haven't seen XRP before, you understand the potential of the sideways it could do for since 2018. It just does so much shit, right? Yeah, this is my other chart. I think it could go up here, $6, $6.60, but this could do something like this for a very long time. So I don't know how long it could before it does go to $6, for instance. So I'm not like, I don't see something that's like the lowest hanging fruit, meaning like if you don't know what that saying is, if you see a tree and there's an apple just ready to get picked, you don't have to put any effort to climb that tree. It's just the branch is there and you just grab it. I don't see that for XRP. I remember I was calling it down here, remember? But I don't see this happening again right now. It just doesn't spark my eye, for instance. That's why I like Litecoin. That sparks my eye to catch a move like that. Is there anything else you guys would like me to cover before I head out? Any other questions? Any other coins that I probably missed? Because I would need to upload this video right after. The weekly close on Bitcoin. The weekly closed, and it closed not so hot. Weekly closed not so hot. So 114 is the level you would want to see Bitcoin stay below on the weekly to see it close bearish. If you do get a weekly close back above 114, then you have the 119 levels on the table to potentially new all-time highs. But as of right now, Bitcoin said we're bearish as of right now, because we made a new low and we lost that weekly swing that took you to that all-time high. So it is not looking super duper hot. They cleared the liquidity. I'll keep an eye on this. I think given that like it's Sunday, volume is a lot lower. Let's see, NQ is opening bullish. So this is a small tip that I like to give out on the weekends, especially. You're more likely to catch something on New York session open in the morning or afternoon, like Monday, Tuesday, typically, of these big, for instance, downtrending moves. So there's no reason to rush into anything. There's going to be some volume coming in for the next on Monday and Tuesday, and then you can catch those nicer trades. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and then when I see something populate on my chart where I start to see the price action come up and start to consolidate, because I do want to see something like this, and then a very sharp rejection. That's what I really want to see, to be honest. Because people are like thinking like, okay, we're gonna push higher, but the daily MACD looks pretty fucking shitty. Flipping bearish, so this could lead to some massive carnage in the next few days. ENA. Let's to ENA. I know a lot of people are, yeah, daily does look bad. Leaky. Well, let's cover ENA. I've seen this coin do some moves. I know you were talking about it a long time ago, right? Where's a good one with the chart history? Binance good? I remember you were talking about it down here, right? So naive. Yeah, I'm just like not into the crypto space. So I don't know. Like I lost track of what's hot and what's not hot, for instance. So I don't know what's like the juicy coin. So maybe I should just pay attention a little bit more. Yeah, we were talking about it down here. Fuck. I think you make good money off of it though, right? We were talking about where like it just has to hold the bottom range, and it did. Okay. Expectation. Well, you have weekly here at 59 cents, and then I'm looking just for the support, right? Because this is where it's holding. Is this chart updating? It's like because is there a new weekly candle? Am I crazy? Because there was a new weekly candle, right? Why is there not a new weekly candle? That just thought. Am I tripping? Okay, maybe I'll use this one. I'll use this one. My mistake. All right, so okay, monthly. Okay, we'll just start with the monthly. Target is here for the monthly. And then your monthly support here. Then weekly would be here. Expectation on the weekly is at least to come back to here. And you're holding this swing here as of right now. I would like to get a deeper test down to the 59-cent region, because then if that comes to play, you can do like this, right? That would be the idea. And then untested weekly support would be here. That's tested. That's tested. Test. Yeah, I would say 40 cents if it does give a pullback, but maybe this is just ready for all-time highs. Maybe. Yeah, I don't want to push it on the daily. It's an altcoin. Just look for the weeklies and monthlies. Yeah, 59 cents would be a great place to buy. I'll just put an alert there for myself if it wants to give me the privilege to do so. It doesn't want to, maybe I have to do it manually. Here, I just add alert. Got it. Okay. Is there anything else before I cut the live stream? I'll still be on while I upload the YouTube video if you guys just want to chat. CRV. Yeah, I need to get going soon. This will have to be the last coin. Monthly, holding this top range of that swing. Push, tested. Test. Ooh, no. Untested. Tested. Looks good. Monthly retests are here to around here. It's like a nice little region. Deep monthly retest would be 52 cents. We'll push it to the weekly. Weekly, what did it do? Did it close above the swing? Yeah, slightly. It closed above that weekly swing. You could see price come back down to here at 87. So if you're looking for this consolidation, just say it's like a consolidation, for instance, because it's getting tight, right? You do want to see price hold the bottom range here and then hopefully just breaks. That's like pretty much the idea. If it does, if you do take out the low, you make a new low below that swing right there, then you are anticipating probably 71 to 69 cents. Then I'm looking at it again. You do have some weekly support right here at 76 cents. So I would just keep in mind of where the support and resistance is. It could bounce from either of these. So I am not 100% sure which one. Just got to watch the reaction, see how it looks, enter, stop loss, so forth, right? But I think 77, 71, if you're buying like spot bags, which I think is like way smarter than catching leverage longs, for instance, like spot bags at those levels would be definitely good play, because if you're just looking at 71 to 78 cents, let's just say on the lower end, of course, that's almost 140%, for instance, from those levels if you do come down there. So you put $100, you put $1,000, whatever your tolerance is, you're almost looking for a 1.5x on your money, right? And look at it on the daily. The MACD is trying to find a momentum shift. So it is, whoops, what the hell did I do? It flipped bullish again. So if it can just maintain that bullishness, if it just holds it, it's basically telling you on the daily, this is how I say it, it's telling you on the daily, look for longs, because it flipped bullish. That's what it's basically telling you to do. Then again, on Bitcoin, it's flipped bearish, so it's telling you to look for shorts. Claro. Okay, we'll cut the stream here. I'm still here.